Have you ever spoken to someone on the internet, someplace like Reddit, whereupon the person you're telling something to says, sources, citations? This always annoyed me, because it suggested that they wouldn't accept a statement from you unless it had been pre-thought by an authority figure. The fact that you might have an original thought never occurs to such people. Aristotle talks about this in Rhetoric, Poetics, and Logic. He says that an argument can be made in three basic ways: appeals to logic, appeals to emotion, and appeals to authority. Of these, the weakest, says Thomas Aquinas, is appeals to authority. Yet that's what these sources citations people rely on, appeals to authority. I was just reading Jason Giorgiani's book Prometheus and Atlas, and therein I saw something that shed light on the issue. He writes, Heidegger's discussions of directionality and deseverance in being and time, and of making present what is spatially distant in the Zoolokon seminars, suggest that his basic understanding of truth as the unconcealment of psychically occulted things, rather than his verificational correspondence, presupposes this primordially clairvoyant experience of the world. Leaving aside the rest of the paragraph, I concentrated on the statement about truth being perceived in two different ways. To some people, truth is the unconcealment of something, a revelation. To others, however, truth is verificational correspondence. In other words, they don't perceive something as true unless they see it duplicated. Think confirmation bias. They have to see it someplace else, or else it's invisible to them. This makes them susceptible, of course, to echo chambers. See Cheryl Atkinson talk about how the public is manipulated by the hall of mirrors set up by corporations to create fake verificational correspondence.
Consider this fictitious example that's inspired by real life. Say you're watching the news and you see a story about a new study on the cholesterol-lowering drug called Cholextra. The study says Cholextra is so effective that doctors should consider prescribing it to adults and even children who don't yet have high cholesterol. Is it too good to be true? You're smart, you decide to do some of your own research. You do a Google search, you consult social media, Facebook and Twitter, you look at Wikipedia, WebMD, a nonprofit website, and you read the original study in a peer-reviewed published medical journal. It all confirms how effective Cholextra is. You do run across a few negative comments and a potential link to cancer, but you dismiss that because medical experts call the cancer link a myth and say that those who think there is a link there are quacks and cranks and nuts. Finally, you learn that your own doctor recently attended a medical seminar. The lecture that he attended confirmed how effective Cholextra is, so he sends you off with some free samples and a prescription. You've really done your homework. But what if all isn't as it seems? What if the reality you found was false? A carefully constructed narrative by unseen special interests designed to manipulate your opinion. A Truman Show-esque alternate reality all around you. Complacency in the news media combined with incredibly powerful propaganda and publicity forces mean we sometimes get little of the truth. Special interests have unlimited time and money to figure out new ways to spin us while cloaking their role. Surreptitious astroturf methods are now more important to these interests than traditional lobbying of Congress. There's an entire industry built around it in Washington. What is astroturf? It's a perversion of grassroots, as in fake grassroots. AstroTurf is when political, corporate, or other special interests disguise themselves and publish blogs, start Facebook and Twitter accounts, publish ads, letters to the editor, or simply post comments online to try to fool you into thinking an independent or grassroots movement is speaking. The whole point of AstroTurf is to try to give the impression there's widespread support for or against an agenda when there's not. AstroTurf seeks to manipulate you into changing your opinion by making you feel as if you're an outlier when you're not.
So corporations using AstroTurf techniques can create fake verificational correspondence. This is the Achilles heel of the so-called non-playable character, who assumes that all truth is something that he's seen repeated somewhere. The echo chamber can be rigged to lie. According to Socrates, truth wasn't truth because an authority figure repeated it. Truth was more like revelation. He said, "We learn nothing. We remember everything." As if your mind was tapping into the Akashic records in the cosmos. Most great scientists and artists appear to do this when they come up with an original idea or invention. Their thoughts are unique. The non-playable character type of hive mind person can't grasp unique thought. Truth to them is something that exists through duplication. I've heard it 3 different places, therefore it's true. So NPCs can't see revelation for the same reason that they can't recognize genius in art. Genius is unique. It is by definition not corroborated. Nothing truly original is. So because it's not duplicated or even duplicatable, it's all but invisible to those of shallow intellect who prize quantity over quality. It's why they revere math. Math is based on quantities. The scientific method is also based on replication. In other words, on unoriginality. Aristotle's definition of a genius is not a mathematician, but a poet. The mathematician merely memorizes. He parrots. He operates mechanically. The poet has to come up with an original way to say something, which is vastly harder. The act of creation from a blank sheet of paper is much more difficult than merely running a Xerox machine for something that already exists. Oscar Wilde famously said, "The hardest part about being an artist is proving you have genius to those who don't." As flippant as he's being, he's right. It would be impossible to explain genius to people who didn't understand that truth is revelation. It's not verificational correspondence. To such people, the originality of art is invisible, as is the paranormal, as is religion. Jack London, in 1899, went to England and described their working class. In his book, The People of the Abyss, he wrote, "The content of these people is manifestly great, for relative to the wretchedness that encompasses them, they are well off. But at its best, it is a dull animal happiness, the content of the full belly. The dominant note of their lives is materialistic. They are stupid and heavy, without imagination. The abyss seems to exude a stupefying atmosphere of torpor which wraps about them and deadens them. Religion passes them by. The unseen holds for them neither terror nor delight. They are unaware of the unseen, and the full belly and the evening pipe with the regular half and half is all they demand or dream of demanding from existence." I like that phrase. The dominant note of their lives is materialistic. Religion passes them by. The unseen holds for them neither terror nor delight. These are people cut off from revelation, from truth. It reminds me of how in the Bible the word apocalypse comes from the Greek word meaning revelation, unconcealing. This is what Heidegger described as truth. But to the non-playable character, truth is not revelation, but verificational correspondence. In psychology, they call this concept social proof, and it's how gullible rubes are manipulated. Social proof is when someone will discount the evidence of their own senses if everyone else says something different. For instance, if you walk into a room and see a blue ball, if another person refers to the blue ball as red, you'll discount it. When 2 people refer to the blue ball as red, you might balk but still hold on to your conviction. After 3 people call it red, you start to wonder if you're colorblind. Watch this TV show demonstrate how the concept of social proof is used to coerce conformity.
The gentleman in the elevator now is a candid star. These folks who are entering, the man with the white shirt, the lady with the trench coat, and subsequently one other member of our staff, will face the rear. And you'll see how this man in the trench coat tries to maintain his individuality, but little by little, he looks at his watch, but he's really making an excuse for turning just a little bit more to the wall. Now we'll try it once again. Here's the candid subject. Here comes the candid camera staff, 3 of them at least. And this man has apparently been in groups before.
It's so easy to manipulate such people with peer pressure, but we're smarter than that, aren't we? By the way, stay tuned for Heather Hobbs's new show, Unsilenced, whereby she covers the subject of abortion from an ethical and scientific perspective. It's a new show on The New American. I'm looking forward to it myself. Keep an eye out for it.